Hi, welcome to a new video dedicated to the new successor of the super popular jumper T8SG, which is the first quasi-universal radio transmitter. Thanks to the built-in 4-in-1 multi-module, you can control over 100 different protocols based on the 4 different RF chips, the A7105, okay, for fly sky protocol, the CC2500 for fear skies, and some other one, the CF6986, okay, more for Devo radio protocol, and finally for moist quadcopter, the NRF2401. So what we have with this one, a new successor, and they upgrade a lot of things. It comes now with a larger screen and using OLED technologies. In fact, the Plus version is the 2.4-inch version, and you have the non-Plus version with a classic, I would say 1.4 classic inch screen. But I would say the more important, the T8SG integrates some Hall effect gimbals, so to offer much more precise control, more smooth. And if you already know, the jumper main drawback was the jitter observed in the central zone, okay, when a lot of jitters could be observed, okay, around the value of 1500. So thanks to the Hall effect gimbal, so it means that no mechanical contact, okay, everything is done thanks to a magnetic field system, no more contact, and we have in theory much more precise integration. And it's not over. We have also some extra button switches associated with the T8SG. Let's discover this new quasi-universal radio, who can be your daily radio transmitter if you want to control most of the quadcopter, whatever, any kind of flying machine actually. Okay, so what we have in this box, and first remark, is strange, but it's super hard to open this box because of the size is super high, and you will spend probably 5 minutes to access to the entire part of the box. Whatever, we have this very short instruction manual where you can find all the main characteristics on the last page, and how to control, mainly to handle deviationTX. If you are not aware, with this operating system is a big competitor of OpenTX, more reserved, more targeting the Fear Sky, Taranis radio, and so on. So we have exactly the same transportation bag than the first T8SG. So let's open it. And we have the transmitter, okay, in yellow color, and the head strap to hold the neck strap to hold your radio transmitter. Okay, so let's now focus a little bit on the characteristics. First, it seems to be a little bit more heavy, okay, and I will wait later, but compared to the first edition, we can guess that approximately there is something about 40-50 extra gram. It's not catastrophic because the jumper was super light, and probably one of the main positive argument of this one, to have a super transportable compact transmitter supporting full a lot of protocols. So what we have, let's compare both of them. The same time of shoulder, but this one, look that they change a little bit the location. In my point of view, they are much more easy to grab, and or not to be to get into a trap when you're flying in FPV. Sometimes you were wrong, you were manipulating the wrong switch, and if it was a disarm switch, could be very problematic. Whatever here, no more I will say trap. Okay, in this one we have on the front panel 4 position switches. They are good, okay, from the D, B, C, and A, and laterally, okay, we have 2 auxiliary where where they were more on the front panel for the first edition. What I can say, I would prefer this one more on the rear side to be more easy to grab with the top of your finger. So here probably you will need to manipulate it to slide your finger like this. Okay, but in the same time, if you want to play with the switch, maybe with the second finger, you will be able to control everything. We have on top a trainer port and the mini USB. Good news compared to the first edition. For example, for mine, I had to open it to access to the mini USB port. It was completely stupid from the first edition to hide it. Now it's clear, it's directly available. Great to update, for example, the last deviationTX and the last 19 build. We can find the same time of button, okay, more larger here for navigation. So the end button to enter into a submenu or validator choice, to exit, to revert back to the original menu, and here some 4 buttons to navigate. We have 4 trim buttons, and immediately let's check the gimbal. Okay, you can see that there is a kind of spring now. For sure, compared to the original, is much better. But I found the spring a little bit weak. Okay, so there is not a lot of force, traction force associated with them. It's a little bit weaker, for example, than the FlySky Classic i6 model, for example. At least the extremity are in metal, so to grab it is much better from the plastic one for the first edition. And compared to the shoulder, okay, the novelty, we have 2 new two-way positions, so 2 extra channel controllable thanks to these 2 extra switches. So let's return the transmitter, and what we have a JR bay. So since we are a 4-in-1 multi-module, maybe this one won't be super useful, but anyway, for example, we can dream in the next futures that a new multi-module will appear, and thanks to this one, and thanks to the GR format, we can probably install it. So we have here a serial link, okay, and why not imagine that as it can be done for the FlySky, this connection can be used, for example, to upgrade a firmware for the FlySky receiver. It can be used in theory, need to be implemented, this flasher in deviationTX, but in theory now it's possible. So it's great, we have an antenna, okay, here in I guess in the RPCMA model. Be aware because this one also can be unscrewed, and we have a male ACMA to RPCMA changer, so be aware. So it's a basic linear 2.4 GHz antenna. We can hold the transmitter like this, that's great, and for the battery, just need to pull, okay, this plastic tab to open it. And by default, what we have this 4 AA battery cup and pen, locked or plug with a 3-position balancer, a plug classic use, for example, for 2S LiPo. So if you remove it, okay, you can install very easily thanks to this large battery bay, and we have the room for that. For example, this 1200 milliamps power 2S LiPo. Notice that only the balancer plug is compatible with 2S LiPo, and when we plug like this, okay, we are ready to go and lock the battery system like this. Okay, just bend the wire and we are ready to go. So I strongly advise more to power the transmitter with a 2S LiPo. The main reason, and I will explain later, is to decrease some, I would say, some indirect effects, for example, with the power unit, okay, for the built-in voltage regulation, especially if you plan later to add the voice mode, okay, the possibility to add the voice command mode, okay. And another way also, I've been observed that with the 2S LiPo, the jitters, okay, of the control can be decreased drastically And for example, when you're reaching close to 4 volt with 4AA batteries, you can observe that the jitter is increased, and you can have some artifact control at this point. Okay, so I strongly advise more to use a 2S LiPo or LEHV battery. So the good news, just need to press fraction of a second, and you have this reverse color OLED screen, and to power off, long press this button as well. So remember, for the first one, okay, we have the screen is not more OLED screen, but to turn off, sometimes it takes a couple of seconds to disappear. Okay, some kind of hysteresis effect could be observed for the first edition. In terms of weight, let's give this information. As I said previously, seems that the first original edition is lighter. So with the same time of 1200 battery, we have something close to 400 grams, 339, sorry, versus 457, so close to 60 grams more heavier for the new revision. We have bigger chassis. Okay, let's compare them. Little bit larger, but not drastically. Okay, it's more or less the same type. We have the gimbal also probably increasing the weights of 2-port, etc., etc. Some metallic element versus plastic for the former one, the GRB, and so on. So let's turn this value, and by default, okay, we have the version, at least the model I received, the version from the 19th of May of 2018. Okay, a recent one, already have written with T8SG V2 Plus. Okay, and the good news, immediately deviationTX is immediately supported, okay, after a couple of weeks directly, so you can pick up the last 19 build dedicated for the T8SG Plus. That's great. So the upgrade is classic, okay. Either you can use the Walkera diffuse. I strongly advise the version 2.31, or use a new updated Java jar program. If you are more using a Mac operating system or Linux, you can now update very easily this firmware, okay, new version of deviationTX to take the last 90 build. So let's have a look. I observed that a couple of seconds of inactivity, the screen becomes completely black, probably will be solved or by parameters, okay, or with the last version of the 90 build. So if you press the enter, you can navigate with thanks to the up and down. So we have the main menu, the transmitter menu, when you enter, where you can, for example, set the different settings. And very important, if you plan to use a 2S LiPo, you will need to change this battery alarm to something more about 7 okay, let's say 7 volts, okay, even less, okay. So be aware, when you long press, you will start to increase the value faster. So let's say 7.4 volt as a battery alarm, okay. And when you will reach this value, the transmitter will start to ring and vibrating. You have the alarm interval every 30 seconds. Power down alert is turned off. The LCD contrast, but as you can see, this value don't change a lot of things. Even at value of off, you can still reading. One important point of this screen, if you are in shadow or at home, this screen is super readable, but as soon as you have some light, direct light, is almost impossible to read. Whatever all the tricks they try to do with the last 19 build, there is no miracle in the light, and you can see after a few seconds the screen become completely black. You need to press whatever a touch, okay, to return the display. So you can change the contrast, the dimmer time after 20 seconds is disappearing, or if you want, you can disable it, okay, it will be always on, okay. Strongly advised, for example, is not consuming a lot, and so on. The different settings, the matter, the temperature, etc., etc. Important is always advised to calibrate the sticks, okay. The first time, if you observe some drift, A reason can be because your sticks are not perfectly calibrated, so you have to center all the stick, okay, like this, and then press enter, then move all the stick like this in any direction, as well as the switch, okay, for the three-way position, as well as the two position, and as well as the two port at all of them at their extreme values. So you can press enter and the calibration is done. So I strongly advise. Okay, so in channel monitor, for example, you can read the values, and for the first edition, you can observe that, for example, there are some little jitter, okay, and you can observe maybe there is a kind of bounce effect to the central value. It's not yet perfect, but at least it's returning to 0. Okay, we can observe that with the more detailed channel mapping. Okay, you can see that. It seems that it returned to 0, then go to 1, and then definitively return to 0. There is a small oscillation when returning to the central value, but at least it's better than the first original edition. One user noticed that if you observe that, one way to limit this effect is to disassemble your transmitter, and all the cable connecting the gimbal to the main plate, you have to twist them, okay, twist the two wires in each other, and it will reduce the diaphony effect, probably introducing this jitter. Okay, so it's a trick to solve, and here you can observe that the aux4 is 1 between 100 to -100, the aux5 is here, okay, no problem. And if we go down, we have the switch A, which is the most on the right, okay, so since it's a three-way, we have A0 for the upper position, E1 for the middle, E2 for the bottom one, and when you are the value 100, it means that this position is selected. We have the same for the B, which is this one, okay. It's not very Korean, A, B, C, D, okay. It's a strange dance between the switches, but it's working fine, okay, and like this, and so on. And the novelty, we have the G, okay, and the H here, so it's working perfectly. So a lot of control available. Do I prefer the gimbal of the T8SG Plus? Yes, I prefer versus, so probably it will be my new daily transmitter. I really like it. Okay, so there are a lot of things to do with. The first thing probably we will want to do is to update the new deviationTX operating system, and compared to OpenTX, in my point of view, is much more easy. What you will need? You will need the Walkera diffuse if you are more on Windows. If the first time you will install it, you will probably need to install manually in the ST Microelectronics subfolder and program file the associated driver. Okay, you have to install it manually by selecting the .env file and right click on it and install this driver. And if you have a modern Windows version, probably first you will need to reboot your Windows when you will allow the non-official driver to be installed. Okay, it's a special trick to do, a special procedure to restart your machine, your Windows in such mode to allow such driver to be installed, but it's not clear that you will need. Whatever you will need, probably absolutely to install this ST Microelectronics associated with the Walkera diffuse, and I strongly advise to select the version 2.31, not the branch 3.0. Okay, and probably come in another video will be the voice alarm mode. So what you will need such kind of DF mini player, MP3 players, and you will need also 8 home speaker, okay, 1 watt maximum. There is a room inside to welcome this speaker. Okay, it's pretty basic. This module costs about $2, and the speaker are more or less the same. So for less than $5 of material or components, you can hear the voice, each command. For example, if you're flying FPV, you can set a threshold, okay, on your battery voltage of the quadcopter, and automatically, when you are close to the limit, the transmitter will start to pronounce, to say some words, so voice alert And it's great while you're wearing your goggles. Sometimes you don't have any OSD information, or when they are present you don't pay attention to them because you are very concentrated on your flying experience. So to add the voice alert is really a big plus, and it's possible very easily to the T8SG V2, the plus and non-plus version. So I will now show you very important. I want to confirm that the jitters, okay, is off or almost reduced to 0, and I want to show you the values. When I will move the sticks in Betaflight, I will bind this transmitter to a protocol here, FirSky in X, so in D16 mode, okay, and try to play with this gimbal and to show you that in Betaflight all the values are returning very precisely or very close to the value of 1500. It's very important because remember the first, okay, unfortunately, sometimes you were returning to 1580 and the next time to 1520. So it was not super precise, and we have to check that. And if you have a small jitter, remember the trick is to take the cable between the jitter to the main plate and twist, okay, together to form ellipse, and it's known to reduce the electromagnetic noise diaphony between cable. Okay, so let's control that in Betaflight with a basic quadcopter is can remember well the Bird with a FirSky XM Plus transmitter receiver. Let's go. Okay, so I will connect this machine to a Betaflight, and I will go to the receiver section. So let's check that, and you can see that there is some small jitters, okay, on the value on 1500 between 001. So it's not catastrophic. Remember, it's a S-bus connection, so it's more or less normal, and is strongly advised each time if you can to add whatever the protocol to add jitters of value of 4 as RC band or dead band, and is solve in general all the problem. But whatever, let's observe that. Okay, look that. Okay, we have each time, if we remember, yes, we are returning to the 1500, but we can see that there is a small bouncing effect when we are returning for this other channel. It's true, yes. Okay, whatever. The jitter is very small. They are the same. Okay. Yet here I'm maybe not perfectly centered to the value of 1000, so I will have to play. But for the throttle, okay, yes, we are returning more or less on the same value. So the deviation is small between 1 and 2, so it's acceptable. Okay, so if you are not center of the perfect value of 1000, you will have to go to the mixer, and for example, for my case, you will have to play with the subtrim here until you can be center perfectly of the value of 1500. For example, I am here now. So now let's check that on the yaw. Okay, perfectly. Yes, when I'm returning, no problem. Okay. One very important stuff is, for example, a lot of people are asking how to handle this three-way position, and you will have to apply such kind of system. First of all, you will need to create a complex. So how to proceed? Here you have to go to this button, and here select complex. Okay, then you will need to add 3 mixers, 3 pages in total. One for the upper position, the second for the middle one, and the third for the last. Let's start with the first, okay? And so it means that you select the first over the 3 one, and you will select the switch, for example the D0 if you don't want. Okay, you just manipulate it, and you will automatically select the value of the switch you want. Then you have to replace. Source is none, and the curve is fixed, and you will have to select, for example, the 100 when it's on top. Okay, so when it's done, you can go to the second pages. So automatically, for example, you can go here, okay, and like this. Okay, so or press like this, the D1 with the right button. Then we have the same replace source known fixed, and this one, the scale, the value is 0. Okay, very important. And the last, okay, is page 3, and so on. You have to select, of course, the D2 when is button, replace source known fixed, and the scale this time is to -100. In this way, you will be able to program your three-way switches and be visible, as you can see in Betaflight. Look at that, 1000, 1500, 2000. Okay, so for me this one is the beeper. Okay, and so on for the other. And for me this one is a flight mode, and so on. We have, for example, so if you want to add all three-way switches, you have to repeat. Here I did that for the channel 5, you have to do it for the channel 6, 7, 8, and so on. Okay, it's pretty obvious, but it's a known trick, and not of new deviationTX owner know how to proceed. What I will do now is to upgrade to the last deviationTX, and as I said previously, I will play with the Walkera diffuse, the version 2.31. Okay, so I will show you how to upgrade the default deviationTX operating system. And if the first time you are doing such procedure, the first thing is to install the software. First, where to find it? Go to the download section here, okay, and then go to the Walkera here, and you can either find it in the dedicated Walkera fan web page, or it's also stored in this Google Drive. So click on it, okay, and you will have to select this view, and to be sure to select here the diffuse D31. And how to proceed, just select it, okay, and then go here to download the file, and when it's done, you will have this file here, this zip file here, the diffuse upgrade to version 2.31, and you will have an exe file. Just click, okay, install it and click, and you will install the software, and you will have an icon on your dashboard, okay, on the on your folder, favorite folder. And it's really important the first time to go to the C folder. If you are on Windows, go to the program file x86, okay, for example, and you will find here STM microelectronics subfolder. Go to software, and here you have a virtual COM driver. So if you have a Windows 7 or more recent, for example here for me it's Windows 10, I will go to Win 8, and then on this dot and file, I will right click and install, okay. So if no problem occurs, you will be able to install the software. If it's still not working, it means that you have a too modern Windows, and you will need to reboot your Windows in a particular mode, make some YouTube search how to install manually a non-certified driver. You will find a lot of different videos, and you will need to reboot this Windows in such condition, then repeat the information, reinstall like this by right click and install this file, and everything will be okay. When it's done, you will need to connect via a mini USB to USB cable the transmitter. Everything actually is turned off, okay. Then, okay, what I will do, I will return to the deviationTX web pages, I will return to the download, and I will go to the 19 build here, okay. Then you will have per day the most recent 19 build, and today there is a new one, so I will go to this 1st June, and we have all the build for the different compatible radio with deviationTX. And for example, we have the first T8SG, the black and silver one. But the more important, we have the V2 and the V2 Plus. So I will pick up this one here, clicking download, and when I already did it, and when it's done, I will got this file, deviationTX, and I will, okay, unzip it with this folder name like this. Okay, I will unfold this one. Sorry, it was this one. Right click, and I will extract. Okay, to this folder. So when it's done, you have a different file. Let's have a look. And the more important, we have the firmware, which is the .defu file. Is the first thing to flash. Then all of the files, or more or less all of them, are the file required for the operating system. It will be installed onto the 2 MB built-in USB drive later after flashing the defu. So let's start to flash the defu. And you will need to boot the transmitter into defu mode. Okay, how to proceed? First, I will iconize this one and I will run the diffuse.exe, the version 2.31 I mentioned some time ago. If everything is okay, when you plug it, TX off, nothing appears. Then you will need to press this button and slightly, briefly press the power button. And when it's done, and if the drivers are correctly installed, you should see this STM device in defu mode appearing. It means that the drivers are correctly installed and the defu mode is seen. Then you will have to browse, okay, to the where you unzip the zip file associated with deviationTX and select the defu mode. Okay, take this one, click open. Then you will need to press upgrade. You will have a warning message. Do you want for sure to flash? You say continue, yes. And then it will flash. It will take a couple of seconds. First thing, it will delete, erase the first original firmware. Okay. Then it will flash the new one, and the last step is to check that everything is well programmed. So on the first stage, now upgrading the firmware into, you have something about 216 kilobytes. Okay, we have the 250 kilos of free memory inside the actual ARM core, so no problem. And we will be able to handle some, for example, some new protocol can be added without any problem. We still have a lot of free room into the max until to reach the maximum RAM size. So we are more or less finishing the second stage, and pretty soon we'll be to the last one where we'll check the firmware. Okay, almost finished. This is probably the most important. Never unplug or turn off the transmitter in this second stage. It's very important. Okay, we can press it's upgraded successfully, so we can quit. Okay, but it's not over. Now I will long press this power button to turn off the transmitter. Okay, now it's turned off, no more light. What I will do now is to press the upper button. Previously was the lower one, now I will press and keep this one pressed, and while shortly press this one. And if everything is okay, you should see this USB logo. And now, okay, what you will see in your, you will see this USB stick where you can see the former, all the files associated with the original deviationTX installed on your machine. What you will do, okay, you will copy the language, the layout, the media, the model echo, okay, the template, and the hardware.ini, the .tx.ini as well. You don't need also to copy the defu file. It's useless because it's flashed into the memory, and you have to copy this one. I didn't took the model file because I already pre-installed some specialized model, so I don't want to erase, but the first time you can also copy this model folder. So I will copy, Ctrl+C, and then paste into this USB drive. Okay, it says that the memory is insufficient, so I will cancel and probably don't take all the elements. So let's say that layout, okay, and copy here. So probably the first time you will need to delete some information. Okay, replace. Now it's okay. And if you want to save some file into the 2 megabytes USB drive, you can delete this file with the original from the original folder. So It's a USB 1 connection, so it's super slow to copy the few files. It's like this, okay? So remember, it's based on a Walkera Devo 7A. It's a 6-7 years old radio, so still in USB 1. That's life. Probably they could upgrade a little bit the USB chip, but it's not done. It's not really important because, so as I said previously, we can delete this DFU file as well as this one in order to save some file into the original folder. Very important, you will have to unmount the drive associated with the USB of your T8SG V2 Plus. Okay, you have to eject. If you don't doing that, you may have some problem with the written file. So now we can turn off the system, okay? And let's now check that we have the last version. Let's power the system. And we have, as you can see, some information. We will control about the deviation. We have the version associated with the 1st June, okay? No extra information. And it's strongly advised the first time to recalibrate the sticks. So let's do it. Control all the sticks like this, okay, and press enter. Move all the sticks, okay, all the 4-3 position switch, the two position and the 2 lateral nodes, auxiliary 4 and 5, okay, until their limit. When it's done, you can press enter. Is calibrated, okay, and let's check that on the channel monitor that everything is okay. Since that we have a perfect, okay, and we have the channel 1, okay, we have to press here. As you can see, the aux 5 and the aux 4 are perfectly going from 100 to minus 100, for example, or this one to minus to plus 100. So it's great. We have the 3 way position, the A is working, etc, etc. So we're ready to go. We upgraded, and thanks to this one, they a little bit tuned, little bit the vibration. Remember to reset the alarm to something homogeneous, to a 2S LiPo, so to something 7.4 volt, for example, pretty important, okay? And you are ready to go, and if you want, you can re-enable the vibration, okay, and the contrast, the dimmer, or if you want, or to stop it, okay, it's useless. I will turn off this one, and so on. Okay, I'm ready to go. Sorry. Okay, and ready to go, and everything is working. I will select my favorite model file, okay. And look that when I am scrolling down, there are a lot of flickering. It's another problem I observe with this LCD display. There are some flickering. Okay, it's not catastrophic. Okay, but easier. Okay, so we are ready to go, and we'll probably post in the second part how to upgrade the transmitter thanks to the voice alert mode. I hope you enjoyed this new video. If you like it, please submit, and see you next time. Bye bye.